Right, well, good evening to Darren Salmon joining us for a catch-up interview, just so he can keep us apprised of what's going on in the world of SCR at the moment. So, Darren, season was curtailed a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, from our point of view, disappointing as we were sitting in a strong position in the league. What were your thoughts when that decision came out?
Yeah, hi, Gal. I think understandably, I think there's a massive frustration amongst myself and the management team and the group. We were going good guns. I think that we'd all be lying if we said it was a complete shock. I think the longer the enforced break had continued for, the more likely, a null and void or a curtailment was looking. But you hear so many things, don't you? Of potential extensions to the season and that sort of stuff, and maybe a revised structure where teams play each other once, or all of the things that were kind of touted around in the information that was requested by the FA. You kind of hope that they're looking for a way to bring the season to a play conclusion. So yeah, massively disappointing.
I mean, I guess when you look at one of the options being playing each other once, that falls by the wayside quite quickly. You've got teams that have already played each other twice. So how would you then decide who has what result counts?
I think you'd have to make a unilateral decision to say that the first, where that was the case, the first result between the two teams was the standing result, and even if you'd have expunged the second result, you could have streamlined it down that way.
Okay, maybe. So obviously it's been curtailed. Do you find the terminology used interesting? Impalement rather than null and void.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't believe it was a complete fluke of choice of words. I think there's a deliberate rationale behind the choice of word. I think null and void is absolutely what it says on the tin. It's completely final. Curtailment simply means to put a restriction on, and this season obviously has been restricted. Football ceased. The fact that the league tables, not been null and void and the results are not expunged could be simply because teams can refer to that in their records, and and players' records and such like would stand, or it could be because the FA have got plans to continue to utilise those the limited games that have been played in some capacity, or I guess they could have a mindset to think we'll return back in August and carry on from the point at which we broke away. So I think there's a few options on the table, but I do think that it's probably not just a lucky choice of words.
Okay, that's fair enough. Right. So league, as we know, then done at the moment. What about cup competitions? Obviously, we're still in the Vars. We're still in the League Cup. How are we looking for those? Do we know what's going on with those? Have we got any dates for those?
No, I mean we're certainly led to believe that the league intends to finish off the Premier League Cup this year. As providing that we come out of lockdown or the grassroots returns as of the 29th. I imagine sometime in April. That I think that it was indicated that the League Cup games would be predominantly midweek games. Our FA Vars competition games would be predominantly Saturdays, so there's a good synergy there, so that could work. And I would think that they would avoid. I would hope. No, yeah, I would hope, definitely more than thinking. I would hope that they would have the good grace to avoid the Easter weekend, which is 3 or 4 days after coming out of that 29th lockdown. The powers that be, and maybe look at the 10th perhaps as sort of earliest commencement back, but we shall see. Stranger things have happened, eh?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because if you look at how long we've been out of football for, it's what, 3 or 4 months. Now, if you were to come back from pre-season, you wouldn't come back from the close season and only have 2 sessions before you started playing football again. You look at sort of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 sessions before you actually put a game on.
Yeah.
Same sort of principle.
You and I would absolutely apply that logic.
Yes.
Unquestionably, this is not just as long as this is probably longer in reality. By the time we return at the end of March, that's 3.5 months. Yeah. Now, I can't remember any closed season being 3.5 months. Can you?
Not recent times, no.
No, not going back when we were playing, perhaps.
Maybe back then, yeah. Maybe you knocked off at the end of April, middle of April, and the season wouldn't start until September.
Yeah.
But now with the earlier start of the FA Cup and the longer end to the season,
yeah.
I can't think of any time when we would have had as long a break as this.
You generally, generally speaking, you're talking probably 6 to 8 weeks break.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be the best part, say, of 3.5 months since we got locked down before Christmas. But comparatively, I suppose it then depends on, they can't go, I appreciate they can't go too long because they've only got a certain amount of, weekends and windows to get games in, and there could still be further inclement weather, which could impact and stuff like that. But I don't know that that anybody has got any real indication of what the thinking is. And again, it's, to me, it's that frustration of being in the dark. I think once people know, whether you appreciate it, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Once they've told us what it looks like, you just got to get on with it. And surely somebody now must have, again, that roadmap, that information that the clubs are desperately looking for, to think, do I have enough time to get training in? Do we need to look at, our squad? Is our squad big enough? Are we going to pick up injuries for forcing players back quicker and maybe less recovery time? Just so many things to think about. Somebody needs to put their head above the parapet and say, this is what we're doing, and have the courage of their own conviction.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. As you say, clarity is what we need at the moment, and hopefully someone will provide that. When we look at the VARs, as you say, with maybe the 10th, maybe the 17th, if they were to say the 17th and said to all the teams still in the VARs, if you win, you play the following round next week, next Saturday, and you just go Saturday, 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 Saturday.
Yeah.
That would,
I guess even to know what they were aspiring to, or what, the successful teams in the VARs are only kind of 4 matches away from, from a Wembley appearance. So
yeah,
it would be pretty useful to know, what the date of the finals are. I understand, yes. Again, we laugh and we scoff as if it's like inconceivable that we're going to go back into a competition potentially where we haven't even got, we haven't even got resolution of last year. I mean, that's the beautiful irony. There's 2 teams, I think, one of which is in, one of which is out this year's competition. Concept and Heaven.
Concept are out, yeah. Heaven are still in.
Last year's finalists have still not played this year's. They've not played their final. And I don't know. Like I said, you just, somebody knows what's going on. Somebody knows what the plan must look like. But I think they just need to be communicating it, because whatever it looks like, whether people are happy about it or not, the quicker we all know, the more we'll have to come to terms with it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, where else are we going? The league are running a supplementary competition. What were your thoughts on that? Will you be entering a side into it? I mean, I know, or I've seen that Villa, Colliers, and I think Bedford and Felton, they've all sort of said that they're not going to be doing so. What are our views on that?
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of mixed thoughts initially. I don't think that we would have put the first team into it, and then I was wondering whether to put the development sides and allow them to play in it. But honestly, I think because the competition because we still don't have any suggestion as to whether spectators will be allowed or anything else. It's another situation where you're just hemorrhaging money. I've said it quite openly as well. I find some of it quite inconceivable that there will be clubs that will have voted for null and void that will then quite happily go on and play in a competition which is essentially just for fun. And the risk of sounding like a broken record, the two choices for me to vote null and void, the two at the time were, you were either massively concerned about the safety of your players, your management team, your committee members, etc. Fine, you vote for null and void. Or the financial implications are too great and you jeopardise the integrity of your club. Fine, vote for null and void. Beyond that, we should all be voting for football. We're football clubs. We are leagues and FAs and everything else. Associations are there to provide football. So if there's a chance to play football, play football. If the league, if the powers that be eventually said, we just physically cannot finish this, then they had a decision to make. But we'd have been that much further down the line with games played and everything else. So I can't get it. I can't understand the vote for null and void, and then say, yeah, do you know what? But we'll stick our hat in a just for fun competition, which doesn't seem to have any bearing of safety and clearly doesn't have any financial constraints.
No, that's fair enough. So we know where we stand on that one. That's not something we will be participating in.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay. On our other sides, so obviously big club, we've got sides across the age groups, Saturday, Sundays, and various other senior sides.
Sure.
What do we know is the position with some of them? I think the under 21s, I believe, are still continuing with their League Cup competition.
League Cup, yes, yeah.
That's the Merstham tie.
Yeah, that's it, Merstham. Yeah, nice tricky tie against Merstham.
Yeah.
But the league has now been confirmed as curtailed in line with the senior competition.
Okay. The under 18s, that's also been curtailed, hasn't it? The Isthmian Youth League.
Yeah.
Okay. The SCR development, their Surrey South East Combination League campaign is continuing. I think they start again on the 3rd of April, and it looks like they've got a full plan to go all the way to the end of May. Yeah,
they're heading towards May, June. I mean, that's good for them. I think there's some opportunity there to play. We're not restricted by pitch availability and stuff, so they'll continue to play, which is great.
And what about the under 23s in the Suburban League? Do we know anything on that?
No, I think the clubs were all requested to submit their responses on preferred options by today. So we will be waiting, I guess, over the next 24, 48 hours for a confirmation on it. I have a sneaking feeling it will go down the curtailed route as well, but it's not 100% ratified yet.
Okay, fair enough. Sunday sides are going to be playing again, or have the option to play again, I think. And
I think
to be able to start again.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're all looking forward to getting some football in. The senior Sunday sides. The youth teams are, again, the seasons as such are curtailed. Have been closed off in the Surrey Youth League, but I think there's plans to look at alternative formats and stuff to try and get some games in, before the end of the season. So hopefully, there'll still be an awful lot of football being played by quite a few of the teams. Okay,
cool. There's been a lot of chat elsewhere about sort of potential restructures, sort of either steps 5 to step 7, or maybe further up. What are your thoughts on anything that may come out of that?
Do you know what? I think it would be ambitious of the FA. I think it would be bold of the FA. I think the FA maybe should consider, trying to push on with it, because, for me, they've come under a lot of fire for for the fact that we started a second season, having had a null and void the first time round, without a clear roadmap of what was going to happen this season. If there was no, if we ended up with a similar situation and the season clearly couldn't be finished. So, they should have really probably added something in place. And I've said before, quite openly, I don't want to get myself in hot water with the FA, but ultimately, if you're a business and you've got stakeholders, and every football club and every player up and down the country are stakeholders in the football in this country, there should have been a plan. There should have been some kind of decision made early doors before a ball was kicked. And I've heard all of the reasons as to why it wasn't possible and stuff like that. But conversation for another day. Now I think they have an opportunity to push on with the restructure, which is 2 years behind schedule. And from a personal and selfish point of view, I'd be over the moon to see it. I don't think it's a secret that we've had ambitions to push ourselves up into step 4. Having finished the position outside of the promotion positions for 2 seasons running, 3rd and 2 went up, 2nd and 1 went up. Then to have a season which was null and void, where we obviously were in the last 16 of the FA Vase, which is a good run, and I think up to 10 games in hand on clubs that would have certainly left promotion in our own hands. Whether or not it was, we will never know whether or not we could have done it or not, but it was certainly still within our own grasp. And then to have that all wrenched away, I suppose the good thing is it does mean that we're still the Premier Challenge Cup holders, despite getting technically knocked out on penalties last year by Malsey. That doesn't count, does it? So we're still the Premier Challenge Cup holders, which is great. But so then to come back this year, to drag yourselves up again, to get the group, revitalised and come out and having played, 12 games, 13 games, without defeat in the league, to then have the season, curtailed before Christmas. I mean, that's what this is. Whichever way you look at it, this is, you've got to be realistic and go, this is actually means this season's conclusion was before Christmas. We couldn't. There's nothing more we could do. We were top. We were unbeaten. This particular season, and even if you take the annulled, null and voided season, and you combine the 2 sets of figures, we come out on top of that as well. So I think the FA would do really well to overlook us, and it is very much our intention to contact the FA over the coming days to make it clear and known to them that if there is a restructure, we want and expect to be part of it.
Okay, that's fair enough. So interesting, very interesting. Clubs continuing with the ambitions that we showed ever since we've come into the Combined Counties League. Yeah,
100%. I mean, for me, I got shot down in flames back in 2004 when I took the club from Sunday football into Saturday football, and made the bold statement as a very well, I was a youngish manager then. I wouldn't say young, but I was youngish. Certainly was far less grey hairs than I've got now, but made it very clear that the only reason I was doing that was to progress the club, and at least taking the club to that step 4 level was my minimum ambition for the club. I don't think I could have pushed it much closer over the last few years.
No, definitely not, mate. It's just been picked at the post the last couple of times, which is frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. But do you know what? It's not the way we wanted to do it. We wanted to play a season, and we wanted to, to have to win promotion.
Yeah.
But I think, right now we feel deserving of it. There's I don't think there's anybody within the clubs in the combined counties that would have a stronger argument than us right now, or a stronger case than us right now. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of good clubs in the league, but ultimately for 4 years, we've delivered consistently. And I think, I've had a few messages from a few clubs actually, which, quite humbling, especially after this last curtailment, that have stated that, that they feel for us, because, they felt this was the year that we were going to, get over the line. I don't know if we would or wouldn't have done, but I can only talk about what's come so far, and we'd made the required start, I think.
Yeah, well, we'd made our best start ever at this level, so you can only base it on what we've done. Would that have continued with the players you would like to have thought would have gone some way towards continuing it? So yeah, it's frustrating, but we know all the legitimate reasons why it has been curtailed, so not much we can do about that.
No.
Well, it's been enlightening and some very interesting points that you've come out with tonight, mate. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I let you get on with your evening?
Yeah, there's a few things actually, Gal.
Okay.
Thank you. Firstly, I think just turning our attention to our landlords, Sutton United, who we have a terrific relationship with, and we're super grateful to for 4 years ago for assisting us back into the borough. We've gotten really well with them since, and I think the clubs work very well together. So, Sutton's first team at the moment are absolutely flying with their aspirations of football league football at Gander Green Lane. So I think on behalf of myself and the club, we wish them all the best over these next few weeks, and Matt Gray and his team. Marvin's Sutton's under 18s, just want to give them a mention, particularly young Sam Tutt, who has been our first team left back for most of this season, with Matt Tanton out injured, but Sam, was keeper, would have kept him out for a lot of that on merit. Obviously, they've got their trip up to Anfield, I think is next Tuesday, the 16th, from memory. So again, just wishing them all the best. Really hope they go and enjoy the occasion, have a safe trip up there, and dare to dream, innit? Go and get the job done. So, hopefully they will. Coming back a bit closer to home, I'd like to wish Chris, my head coach, a full and speedy recovery. He's been really very unwell during this lockdown period. Hopefully Chris can get himself on the mend. Generally, just wishing all of the SCR sides that are going to be commencing back on the 29th all the best, whether it's league format or mini leagues or whatever they're playing. Just enjoy it. We've been out of the game for 3.5 months, and whether it's the senior teams or the youth teams, just great to be back, seeing them back playing. So go out and enjoy it for the rest of the season. I think I should make a mention to, lucky this was only a short list, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Should make a mention to our season ticket holders as well, because for the second year running, obviously they've found themselves, cut short, but for no fault of anybody's. COVID has done that job all on its own. We did something for the season ticket holders last year that we're renewing for this year. And I can assure you now, we will make sure that we put something in place so that nobody misses out for the coming season. We'll put some more details out about that in due course. And finally, just to our sponsors, again, you guys have been loyal and have supported us, through this. Not just this season, for some of them, Stacey particularly more than Lofts has been with us a long time. And then, Steve and the Surrey Hire guys have come in this year and been loyally supportive. And we hope they'll continue to get behind us, whatever this rest of this season looks like and going into the next year. Just hope everyone's keeping safe and well. And we look forward to seeing everyone. It's been a long time.
Okay. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, mate. I will let you get on with your evening.
Cheers, Gary. All the best.
Thank you, mate.